After I quit my job in 2012, I spent some time thinking about ideas for my next game. I promised myself that I would take the leap of faith and try full-time indie game development once I managed to earn enough money from the game Symbiosis. However, now that I've actually done it, I've been experiencing anxiety. I had one quote-unquote successful game that earned me decent revenue. But what if that's it? What if I'll never be able to replicate my success in another project? What if the good results of my game actually lead to failure? With these thoughts in mind, I registered to participate in an indie game contest shortly after quitting my job. As a part of this contest, I created Frogged, a game in the Arkanoid genre, but with a twist. In this game, you as a player don't control a paddle, but control bricks instead. I've recorded a video about Frogged, so you can watch it by clicking a link at the top of the screen. However, even after I finished up with Frogged, which after all was only a small contest project, I still wondered what to do next. At the same time, I was receiving massive feedback from players who enjoyed Symbiosis, published just a few months ago. Most of them were excited to see more levels for the original game. That's when I first came up with the idea of a sequel. Hello there! For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Yaroslav and I'm an indie game developer from Ukraine. Today, I'm gonna share the story of my very first sequel, which I created shortly after deciding to leave my stable 9-to-5 office job and dive into a full-time indie game development career. By the way, if you're interested in the process of creating games and my journey as a self-made indie game developer, please consider subscribing to this channel, as that's exactly the type of content I plan on sharing here. Now about my sequel. Initially, I was thinking of creating a simple level pack for the original game Symbiosis. However, as I started working on new levels, I suddenly realized that I had quite a few ideas for a new setting, gameplay improvements, and special challenges that would allow players to earn more experience for completing various tasks. That's how the idea of Symbiosis Greenland, a full-fledged sequel, came to my mind. As the title implies, the events of the sequel unfold in the harsh winter conditions of Greenland. Contrary to the rumors about the destruction of all hostile crystals in the original version of the game, some sneaky crystals had hidden beneath the icy wastelands of Greenland and survived. To match this setting, the game features not only 15 new levels, but also a brand new environment. A significant amount of time was dedicated to creating winter landscapes and level elements. This time, players will have the opportunity to showcase their talents and skills in eliminating this alien life once and for all. Furthermore, while working on the sequel, I made an effort to incorporate feedback and comments from players on the sponsor's website Armor Games, as well as on portals like Congregate and Newgrounds. The most common complaint was the low level of difficulty. A significant portion of players found the first Symbiosis to be too simple. Therefore, in the second part of the game, I substantially increased the difficulty settings and adjusted the balance. In the new game, it's impossible for a player to breeze through 7 levels and learn 10 new skills all at once, as they could in the original version of the game. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, I changed the logic of earning special challenges. In the original Symbiosis game, players could earn them at any difficulty setting, but now they need to select at least the medium difficulty level to even attempt the challenge. In other words, earning a special challenge at low difficulty is no longer possible. To make obtaining special challenges even more engaging, I introduced infected cells, specific areas on the game field that players should avoid if they want to successfully complete a special challenge. I also made some adjustments to the mechanics of the certain skills and spells. Statistics showed that in the original version of Symbiosis, players prefer the Meteor spell, while almost never using others. Therefore, in Symbiosis Greenland, I enhance other spells. For instance, the updated shield spell not only increases defense, but also restores life or accelerates plants' growth speed, depending on the chosen branch. Moreover, I introduced a brand new skill that increases the power of the Symbiosis ability of plants. Furthermore, upon completing the game at any difficulty setting, players unlock a unique golden Symbiosis ability that enhances the power of Symbiosis even further. Finally, I added an option for respecting skill points, a feature that had been requested by numerous players. The development of Symbiosis Greenland took nearly 3 months, which I find surprisingly fast considering the amount of work I put into it. It was completed at the beginning of summer. Another month was spent on negotiation with potential sponsors. Unfortunately, Armor Games, the sponsor of the original Symbiosis game, whom I contacted even before listing the game on Flash Game license site, declined sponsorship due to the budget constraints. Therefore, I had to resort to an auction. After a little over a month on the Flash Game license site, the game finally found its sponsor in Clutter Media. Surprisingly, the sequel to Symbiosis managed to sell for $8,200, which is even slightly more than the original game. However, since Clutter Media's sponsorship terms did not include performance bonuses or FGL commission payments, the actual profit was somewhat lower. I also approached Armor Games, the original sponsor of Symbiosis, with a proposal to sell a site-locked version for $700, and thankfully they agreed. After its release in July 2013, the game embarked on a journey to players' browsers and proved to be quite successful. Not only did it receive a daily 3rd place on Newgrounds, but it also secured 3rd place in the weekly contest and 6th place in the monthly contest on Congregate, earning money prizes of $150 and $250 respectively. Last but not least, Symbiosis Greenland earned an additional $433 as ED revenue share on Congregate, bringing the total revenue to $9,733. Now, although this result was somewhat lower than the revenue of the original Symbiosis, I was still very pleased with it. By the way, you can watch a detailed video about Symbiosis' revenue by clicking on the link at the top of the screen. The entire development cycle of the sequel, from idea to the final product, took only 3 months. This meant that my monthly quote-unquote salary exceeded $3,000. Not only was this nearly 8 times higher than what I earned in my previous office job, but it was also well above the average salary in my country, which in turn prevented me from feeling like a complete failure and slightly reduced my anxiety, at least for a while. Regarding non-monetary results, Symbiosis Greenland made it to the list of hot new games on Congregate's homepage. Later, I contacted the owner of Congregate to enable badges for my game, and my request was approved. Unfortunately, I didn't incorporate analytics tools into the game, so I couldn't assess the overall number of plays. Nevertheless, I still have access to this data on Congregate, and on this game portal alone, Symbiosis Greenland amassed more than 400,000 views, which in my opinion is a pretty decent result. However, little did I know that the game I would start working on in a few months would completely obliterate the results of Symbiosis Greenland, both in terms of views and even more so in terms of revenue. If you don't want to miss the story of my most successful game to date, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. For now though, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.